Hey everybody, my name is Fred and today we're taking a look at Dauntless, which is a co-op monster hunter developed by Phoenix Labs that is available to play for free right at this moment for PC, PS4 and Xbox. And a cool feature included here is that the game is cross-platform, so if you have some friends with whom you want to play but you own different consoles, you can still play the game with them. The game is meant to be played co-op, but you can solo hunt if single player is more your style. Now, if you don't know what a monster hunter actually is, the concept is quite simple for all of you wannabe monster slayer noobs out there. You team up with your friends or randoms, you queue up for a hunt and you go kill a boss. Think of it kinda like raiding in an MMORPG, but without all the bullshit before the cool boss fights actually happen. One of the cool things about Dauntless is the wide variety of behemoths you can fight, from an oversized beaver to an angry fire pony to a giant shadow owl. This keeps things fresh for a good amount of time when you start out playing the game. But of course, as with any game, you will at some point have tried all of the behemoths, and some might argue that this is when the game becomes repetitive. But I would argue that this is when the game actually starts to be rewarding. The better you know a fight in Dauntless, the better you can perform, interrupting, dodging and staggering behemoths to look cool in front of your teammates. And while you're fighting these behemoths, you can break different parts of their body, like a tooth if you smack it enough in the head. These parts are used to craft your armor and your weapons. The armor looks cool and has different perks you can put together to customize your character so that it best fits your playstyle, and some of it even has the added benefit of being resistant to certain types of damage. For example, this Black Panther looking outfit makes this giant shadow owl called a Shroud do less damage to my character with its shadow attacks. In my opinion though, where the game really shines is with its weapon system. In Dauntless, your weapon of choice decides what your playstyle is. And this is not some playstyle set in stone from the beginning of the game, it's something that you can change whenever you like. Say you prefer smacking the behemoth in the head with a hammer/shotgun until it staggers, you can play with the hammer. Or maybe you want to roleplay Iron Fist with fast combos and kamehamehas, use Aether Strikers. Or maybe you want to be a badass gunslinger devastating the behemoth from range, use the repeaters. And these are just a couple of the options. There are so many weapons to craft and upgrade in Dauntless that it will probably take you at least 100 hours to get all of them, if not a lot more. And every time you change to a different weapon type, you have to relearn the behemoths you're fighting all over, because it changes your entire approach to the fight. And just when you thought that that was it, there's even more. The game also has a mastery system that tracks your affinity for different weapons, your mastery of behemoths and your overall slayer level. This system rewards you with useful items for fighting behemoths and cool titles and cosmetics, if that's your thing. And on top of all these things, there are increased difficulty levels to the behemoths, which adds new moves to their kits and grants you even better crafting materials if you're actually able to beat them. Dauntless has so much content to offer if you do not mind grinding to get better. But of course, Dauntless is not a perfect game. I don't know if this is intentional from the developer's side, but that does not change the fact that when you're fighting some of the bigger behemoths, like the Pangar or the Hellion, you just sit there trying to find a camera angle that is bearable to play with, because the behemoth takes up 80% of your screen and all you can see for 1 minute is its ass. This is annoying, but to me at least, it's only a slight annoyance. A larger criticism of the game is that some of the design choices with the behemoths have missed the mark in terms of the fight itself. Like for example the radiant behemoth called the Valamir. This behemoth basically just teleports around and spawns unavoidable small light drones around itself, and you're only able to counter these drones if you pick up a shield that only spawns sometimes. Another concern I have with the game as well is their approach to AFKing. There's some players who can enter a hunt and stand AFK while their team does the work without any option for the active players to kick the AFK player. Now keep in mind that I've only experienced this in about 2 out of 100 hunts, but it still annoyed me sufficiently to critique it. And the last thing I have to mention is not a critique, but it's a fair warning to all would-be players. The game does sadly contain a microtransaction system, as most games does these days. But the purchasable items are only cosmetic as far as I could see, and they have no impact on your in-game performance. And to me this is acceptable since the game is already free to play, but I still hate the concept of microtransactions in video games, so I felt I needed to mention it. All in all, Dauntless is a solid free to play game. You can easily jump into Dauntless and have a good time with your friends, especially because it is available cross-platform. The graphics are solid and the animations on the behemoths are cool to look at, and the soundtrack is good and underlines the intensity of the fight you're in, but these are not the most important aspects of the game in my opinion. This is a monster hunter where you're constantly fighting a threatening enemy, and therefore if the combat is not on point, the game falls short. Luckily for us the combat is, and most of the time, fluid with some bugs here and there, but nothing major. The variety of behemoths and weapons this game offers you is incredible and keeps it fresh a lot longer than I expected it to. My experience with Dauntless has been quite positive, and I can warmly recommend that you check it out if it looks interesting to you. My final verdict for Dauntless is a 7 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and a comment below, or even better, hit that big red subscribe button. Until next time, I'm Fred, and thank you very much for watching. Peace.